What is up, fight fans? Welcome back to another episode of the MMAnomaly No Filter Show with the co-host Jive Turkey Nano, as usual. What's up, Nano?
What's up, brother? Great to see you again. How you been, man? How's everything?
Beautiful, beautiful. Everything is absolutely beautiful, man. Had jury duty today, ended up getting dismissed after a very long day of sitting there waiting to see if I'd be dismissed or not. And here we are, man. We made it. We're out here, as they say.
We out here. We really doing it, man. Another episode in the books. It was a fun one. It was another fun one, right? I think we have a lot to cover, man. I'm excited.
Man, we really do. Honestly, we have a crazy episode of Tough to go over where we didn't get the fight that we thought we were going to get. I had to jump on here and edit the thumbnail because I had the two faces of the guys we thought we were going to fight. Before we jump into that, though, I did change the layout a little bit, and I'd like to go ahead and switch to that one, so let's do that.
Let's do it.
There we go. I think it looks a little bit better, a little bit cleaner. The live chat's a little bit bigger. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, fight fans of all ages, we just got finished watching a bold episode of Tough, The Ultimate Fighter 31, episode 2. Nano, what'd you think of that, man?
Man, like I said, it was definitely a fun one. I mean, man, initially, the Trevor Wells not being able to fight due to medical reasons, a unique medical reason, I would say, a form of herpes, okay, a cold sore.
We saw Ian Gary fight with one of those, didn't we?
I'm pretty sure.
Pretty sure we did.
I don't know, dude.
Yeah, I don't know, dude.
Who knows? Yeah, maybe it was already cleared, right? Because they did mention a week, maybe before.
Yeah.
Maybe it just, if it came up day of the fight, then maybe that's like, whoa, okay, what's going on here? I don't know. I've never seen that happen before. That was the first kind of stoppage of the nature, I feel like. Tim Barr was definitely a bit worried about doing the weight cut again, but overall felt like he took it like a champ. Got to be a pro. These things happen. Injuries or cold sores, I guess, even. Conor McGregor mentioned the mats even, but it was interesting, man. I guess, that kind of threw me off. I'm thinking, are they not going to have a fight now? Like, that's going to be frustrating. But I guess, they filled in some time. I was curious, though, before curious to hear your thoughts, and then the weight cutting, and what do you think the best thing to do for the fighters, or what the best course of action is to do for me?
So, I mean, honestly, there's a number of different things that they could have done here. Nothing is really going to be fair, if I'm being completely honest. Like, the fact that Teamer made weight and now he doesn't get to fight this guy is just completely trash. It's a trash situation, and I just there's nothing you can do to make it perfect. Let's be completely honest.
Yeah.
But if it were up to me, I would say probably move those guys to the final fight of the season. That way both guys have plenty of time where they don't have to cut weight back to back within 2 weeks. It seems unfair. So yeah, I don't think that the move is to send them to the next week's fight. It just doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't seem like the move to make.
Connor did mention maybe a catch weight or something of the sort.
I don't think a catch weight would be a bad idea, but I also Teamer made weight. Did the other guy make weight? Maybe I missed it. Did they say the other guy made weight?
I don't think they even showed it, did they?
They didn't show the weigh-ins.
Yeah, they didn't show the weigh-ins like they did this last time, which I thought was interesting. They had the face-off during the weigh-in. Maybe I don't want to jump too much. Maybe we'll stay chronological here, but yeah, I don't remember seeing that. I'm assuming they both did. If the fight was literally going to be on, I think Timber had his hands wrapped already. He's in there preparing. I mean, who knows what time they're fighting? Let's assume maybe sometime in the evening, right?
Yeah, I mean, honestly,
hey, what's up, Bowie?
What up, JJ Smoke? Again, if they both made weight, then maybe a catch weight makes sense. And again, it's not like his opponent asked to have a cold sore, right? Like, both of those guys wanted to fight. It's a bummer for both those guys, right? But it's not necessarily fair for Tamer.
Yeah.
That being said, we did have a pretty wild fight on our hands tonight. We had Cody Gibson going out there, and man, Cody Gibson is an absolute beast. I'll be honest with you, I was a big fan of his before this fight. And like just being completely honest, like I knew of him back in the day when he first got into the UFC, and unfortunately had his just first fight be against Aljamain Sterling.
Yeah.
That was the fight, being completely honest, when I started to, like, when I saw Aljamain Sterling probably for the first time or second time, and I was like, oh, wow, this guy is a stud. He could end up being somebody special. And that was back on UFC 170. That was Rousey versus McMahon. That was back when Rousey was an absolute beast and just absolutely tearing through women. So to put into perspective how long it's been, right? And he lost that fight to Aljamain Sterling. After that, he got a TKO within 38 seconds of the first round over Johnny Bedford. They didn't tell you how fast that thing happened in that episode. It was a 38-second first round TKO knockout. What a freaking finish. My God. And then after that, he fought Manny Gambarian. I mean, like, for the newer UFC fans that just came in the last 4 or 5 years, they've never heard of Manville the Anvil Gambarian. But that guy's an absolute stud, too. So the fact that he lost via submission to him 2 rounds in to a 3-round fight, like that's not a big knock on his record, in my opinion. The fact that he only had 3 losses in the UFC out of 4 fights, granted, 3 losses out of 4 fights sounds terrible, but he was 1-2 in his last 3. Give that guy at least one more fight, dude. Yeah. Like it was kind of unfair how quickly he got cut. And it was a close decision against Aljamain Sterling. And then a fairly good fight against Douglas Silva de Andrade, who is a beast, who, like, to my knowledge, was still fighting in the UFC up until pretty darn recently. Oh, no, he's still fighting. He just fought Cody Stamann.
Oh, there we go.
In May.
Yeah. Yeah, he's around that same age. Yeah, he's been in for a while, man. He's made a career for himself. Been a staple in the division, big strong guy, similar to how Mondo's built as well. Maybe there's something to be considered there, right? I think shit. Yeah, sorry JJ, we don't want to spoil anything for you. Yeah, definitely. Luckily we didn't dive into any spoilers. Maybe we should preface that. No spoilers if you haven't watched it. I know it just ended.
You know what? Just in case people jump in and they haven't finished the episode. Oh, what's up, super silly shy guy? What up, Shan? Hey. Shanikin the mannequin. How we doing?
Let's go.
Ladies and gentlemen, Spider Shan is under the chat. So, you know, like, it was a great fight.
He seems solid. Like you said, the Aljo Sterling fight early in his career, he took some losses, but hey, man, when you don't lose, you just learn, right? I think he's had a lot of lessons.
We win and we learn in this game, my friend. We win and we learn.
Absolutely, brother. And he looks solid, man. At 5'10", you know, he's 1 inch shorter than Sugar Sean O'Malley. Looked about that same size, you know, a little bit slender. I personally, I didn't know how he was going to do. I thought if he could use his distance, if he could use that range.
Are you talking about Cody?
Yeah. Against someone like Mondo. Because it's hard not to root for someone like Cody, right? I love how they mentioned his story, trains in SoCal, and you know has a beautiful family. They're showing a lot of that. You know, my biggest thing I mentioned here in my notes was, does he have enough tread on the tires? Is he going to be able to go in there with the young, hungry guy like Mondo Gutierrez, who looked to be a stud, right? 26 years young. Looked to be a strong wrestler, has that pedigree since he was a child.
Sure.
Also has just seems to be really athletic, really springy, really strong, and you know, a little jacked, kind of like bowling ball looking frame. Good grappling, some heavy leg kicks, and I thought he had good boxing as a southpaw, which he mentioned in the episode. You know, training with Conor, he was really excited. He fought Raul Rojas Jr., lost by decision, went to 3 rounds. Again, I thought going into it, my notes, I'm like, man, I thought he was going to come in, be ready. I love that little clip. They ended up showing it on ESPN, I believe, but in trying to pick Conor's brain a little bit. How are you going into the fights? You know, what are you thinking about? Conor, right before he went in there, is like, hey, it's your octagon. Go in there, demand it.
I absolutely loved his advice to his fighter right before that. Like, what were your thoughts on getting to see the training montages this week? And
Roosevelt. You know, is he trying to play the villain?
Dude,
I know we love the freaking reality TV version of any show that we watch.
It felt very much like The Challenge. Like it felt like an MTV reality show, that moment with them in the kitchen. And honestly, everything about it felt like The Challenge, all the way down to the fact that, you know, in MTV's The Challenge, for those of you that don't watch, there's typically like, you know, the situation of 2 to 3 people arguing or fighting, and then someone trying to make a pizza in the oven. That's just not even part of it. That's just possibly drunk and just trying to eat some food. And like you had Hick Diaz, poor Jason Knight over there, and he's like, I'm just trying to make some stir fry. Can y'all calm down?
Getting all hostile over here.
Bro, like that was such a great moment. Fun, and whose side were you on? Were you on Roosevelt Roberts' side or like?
Well, you know, I mean, it's interesting. I love that question. My question, or that I put, was, you know, is Landon trying to be the villain here, you know, or is Roosevelt trying to put, you know, the S on his chest a little bit, kind of humble, serve him up a little humble pie. And I think after hearing Roosevelt mention like, oh, this guy's been talking, saying, you know, you vets ain't this or that, I would have liked to see some of that, because if he is chirping all the time, this guy's kind of becoming the loudmouth. Right. Then it's like, yeah, hey, I'm glad he's kind of shutting him up a little bit, like let him know what's up. Because at first it didn't seem like he was necessarily doing too much. I'm like, okay, I mean, he's just talking, you know, maybe he's like just getting a little wild up. But then I'm like, you know what, Roosevelt, if he has been talking and he's chirping, you know, let him know, you know, this old bull still got some fight in him. Like, hey, young blood, young blood here. Yeah, young blood. Young blood. Young buck. I didn't want to say young buck over there. You ain't nothing yet. You know, you got to come hang around. You got to earn those stripes. You got to earn them antlers. You know what I mean? So,
fun fact, I had a homie back in Louisiana. I actually still am friends with him on Facebook, and we chat occasionally, whose last name is actually Youngblood. Youngblood. Shout out Neil. Phenomenal. Shout out Neil Youngblood, the homie.
That's phenomenal. Is he Native American or something? That's cool. It's cool.
No, he's just like one of my black homies from Louisiana.
Oh, there we go. Well, hey.
Yeah, I swear to God, I thought he was joking for the first like few years we were friends. And then finally he pulled out his ID and he's like, dude, I'm telling you, my last name's Youngblood.
Oh. I love it. Yeah, man. Whose side were you on? What did you think of that exchange?
I mean, so Landon, I feel like was just trying to be side A, as they say in the biz, right? Like he was trying to be the guy. He was trying to be the draw. He was trying to make himself the it personality guy. And like, good for you. That's fantastic. But come on. You're trying to play the villain. You're trying to be that guy. And it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to do that. Like, you're just trying to create drama for the sake of creating drama, in my honest opinion. And I thought Roosevelt Roberts handled it very well. He did what he had to do to point out that, you know, Landon's probably not that guy.
Not that guy, pal.
You're not that guy. You're not that guy. So I loved that situation, that moment. I thought it was fun. Like you said, it was classic reality TV, right? But moving on to the fight. Now that we're 35 minutes after the episode, I feel like hopefully folks have had enough time to watch the episode. JJ Smoke, I'm looking at you, brother. So let's talk about that flying knee. I gotta think that was a shattered orbital.
I mean, his eye was swollen. I don't know how long after they did that interview of him, if it was that same day.
They typically do it either like later that day or the next day after they've had a chance to go to the doctor or get it stitched up.
It didn't even look like it wasn't even cut anymore, but that eye was shut. Yeah. You could shove a nickel through that thing is about it.
His significant other won't be leaving him for seeing someone else on the side.
It's just like he's winking.
Because he only has one eye, you know. Sorry, bad jokes. Bad jokes aside, and dad jokes aside, what a fight!
Great fight. I mean, I think Cody used his distance well. Like I kind of mentioned earlier, it felt like Mondo, with Connor's coaching, you know, hey, like go in there, try to use that confidence, demand the octagon, like go in there and own it. And I think he tried. I think he really did try to go in there and do that. But I think maybe it felt like he just couldn't figure out Cody's distance. He couldn't own the octagon, right? He started off moving forward, ate a couple shots, maybe Cody's length, maybe his variety, right? Just started to give him trouble, pressured him up against the fence a couple times. I thought Cody could have been more offensive on the fence, to be honest. Maybe he didn't want to gas out. Again, he's a vet, you know, maybe wasn't riding the adrenaline like a young bull, the young toro Mondo there was. But overall, man, I mean, everything that led up to that, it just felt like Cody went in, took over, and that knee was freaking nice, man. Nasty. I mean, he saw it from a mile away. Maybe he just knew, hey, I can get this knee pretty darn high. He's already crouched, trying to dodge and weave, but oh boy, that thing was nasty. What did you think of it?
I honestly thought it was absolutely incredible. And you can ask Mary on this. She was sitting right next to me on the couch, waiting for the fight to come up. And nice. I literally told her right before it happened, I was like, oh man, this is going to be a 2-rounder. We got about seven. We had 7 minutes. We had 7 minutes and 30 seconds left roughly in the episode. And I was watching it live on ESPN linear this time, which is why you probably won't see the last week's episode up on YouTube. Thanks, ESPN, for the DCMA strike. We appreciate that. We
love you. We
tried to say we didn't own the rights to that, but I can understand maybe they got upset about the spoiler on last week's episode. So, as you can notice, there are absent clips this week's episode. We will not be showing clips from Tough for these episodes because I want them to stay up. So that's the plan.
It looked like this. Ugh.
It did. It looked just like that. That was a perfect reenactment, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody give Nano a good round of applause there in the chat, guys. So
that's ours. We can copyright that. I don't want to see that. If we go viral, we want some credit.
That's ours. Somebody clip that. That's the spoiler alert right there. So it was a great fight. I honestly thought that everything that you said, I echo. I thought that was a great analysis. Cody did a fantastic job of leading the dance at all times. When they were in the clinch, he was constantly moving his opponent back. He was constantly controlling the clinch. Maybe he wasn't landing enough strikes to appease the nanos of the world. Yeah, but
the casuals,
but
the violent fans.
I'm a violence fan too, but I thought that he was doing the right things in the right times. And he was being very efficient with his energy. And I thought, even though the flying knee is obviously going to be the thing that gets clipped and goes viral and all that stuff, I think something that a lot of casuals might not notice, he said it, not me, but casuals might not notice, is the Muay Thai style whip kick that he was repeatedly throwing up the center pipe. And mind you, that's not a kick that will work on every single opponent. That's a kick that will work on the Mandos of the world. Mando is the type of fighter that's, he's, as you pointed out, fighting at a reach deficit. He's fighting at a height deficit. As a result, he's trying to come in. He's trying to keep his head down. He's trying to stay safe, right? The more you try to stay safe, the more you leave openings to other dangers. Is something that I believe. If you're really tight here, I can snap your head up the same exact way that Tony Ferguson got done to him by the young man who won tonight's coach, Michael Chandler. So that being said, I thought that whip kick was everything tonight. He was landing it up the pipe on the body, and because Mando was leaned forward and hunched forward and trying to really protect his head, he was eating him to the body. And then after he ate a couple of them to the body, he did end up eating one or two of them to the head. And then the uppercuts were so clean. Again, just the same exact way the whip kick lands. He's here, he's swaying back and forth. He's doing the right things, but that uppercut is so easy to just slip and rip right up the pipe, my guy. And Cody did it. He did it multiple times. And I think that realistically, not just because of his height and his reach, I think that because of his skill set, his endurance, his tenure, the fact that literally the last time he was in the UFC, Ronda Rousey was the champion. And
dude, Aljo looked so young when he fought him. I was like, wow. I think
and he's had so
card 178. What are we on now? 290.
Dude, his first card was 170, I believe. Yeah, his first card was 170. So dude,
doubled it.
Yeah, we're double that right now. We're about to be on 290.
Yeah, he has been around. So I think, yeah,
he's had so much time to grow. And I also, one of the things that I want to point out that I really, really enjoyed about him, just him personally, Cody, in this episode. And again, I stated this before. I've been a fan of his for some time. That fandom for me grew tenfold tonight because of getting to see the insight into his story, getting to see that he was adopted, getting to see the hardships that he's had and the different things that he's overcome. And not only that, but the fact that this young man has been out of the UFC for 8 years. And it would be very, very easy for him walking into this fight to be like, nah, this guy ain't got shit for me. I'm a fucking stud. I'm ex-UFC and I'm about to be next UFC. And instead, he literally said, I think he is UFC caliber. but I don't think he's ready for what I've got for him. But good luck to him. Like, you know me, I'm a sucker for good guys. I hate the bad guys of the world. And the fact that Cody was able to, before winning this fight, still be a good guy, walking into the unknown, walking into that chaos realm, so to speak. Like, I just love that, man.
Absolutely, man. Maybe maybe there's a rhyme to the reason, right? There's got to be a reason why they gave him another shot back here, right? Yeah, he's been out of the UFC. What was it, like 7 or 8 years?
8 years.
He said
8 years.
Like, man, what a beast. I just want to echo everything you said, man. Dude's a stud. Hard not to root for him. He looked measured in there. And man, that flying knee. I mean, both episodes have gave us good little clips to go and watch, man. It's awesome.
And I just want to say, like, since being like kicked out of the UFC, so to speak, the guy has only had 2 losses. One of those came in Khabib Nurmagomedov's promotion, Eagle FC, against Ray Borg, who is a stud. Like, that guy's fought against Demetrius Johnson. And some of his wins since leaving the UFC, he got an arm triangle choke over Francisco Rivera. And this is a much better one in my opinion, he got a unanimous decision win over John Dodson. Again, we're talking about someone that went toe-to-toe with Demetrius Johnson and did well. So
on the Ultimate Fighter as well?
He was on the Ultimate Fighter. Absolutely. The Magic Man, John Dodson, man. That guy's got speed for days. I used to love picking him in the Undisputed 3 UFC game back in the day.
Stamina for days, man.
He just light people up, man.
Awesome.
So, that being said, it was a great episode of Tough. Definitely looking forward to the next one. We got Austin Hubbard fighting. Being completely candid, I think Austin Hubbard ends up getting it done, man. I think he ends up beating his opponent in the next fight. And I don't want to say it, I don't think it's going to be close, because I do think it's going to be a competitive fight, but I just think Austin Hubbard is he's a better fighter. He's more well-rounded. He has more experience. And I feel like I'm going to start to sound like a broken record every week on these episodes, man. That's just the case of Team Chandler this season.
Something about them vets, huh? You like them gritty veterans.
I'm an old guy. I got to root for the old guys.
Yeah, bro. I love your honesty, brother. I love your
You want me to root for the 23-year-old over like the 35-year-old? No chance, bro. It's not going to ever happen. Maybe 10 years ago.
Fair. I appreciate that, man.
Yeah.
That's a good and the guy he's fighting this week, I'm trying to look up, because it's Aaron McKenzie. Is that McGregor's guy? He's not ranked, so is he not included in the last episode, I guess? Or like, is he a newcomer?
What are you talking about?
Aaron McKenzie, the guy that they hinted for the new episode.
Oh yeah, that's the guy that has kick-jitsu. Or Brazilian kick-jitsu. That's what he said.
Kick-jitsu, okay. I suppose he wasn't ranked. I'm like, how come was he like not include like?
Where do you see that he's not ranked? Where do you see that?
Oh shit! Let's go.
Is it? What is it?
They showed like a clip of like right at the end of the episode. They showed the next episode, like hinting at next week's episode, like who's fighting, because it's Aaron McKenzie versus what's the guy's name again? You just mentioned. I could be. Maybe I saw it wrong.
Hold on. Now you have me curious. I'm trying to look up what you were talking about.
Yeah.
The guy that I was talking about is Austin Hubbard.
Austin Hubbard. Okay.
Yeah. One of my buddies on Twitter posted the whole the thing from the first episode showing all the fights. So I'm just gonna find that real quick.
Okay. Yeah.
Should probably have that saved.
No worries, man.
Here we go.
Hang steady, ladies and gents.
So, either way, Austin Hubbard versus Aaron McKenzie. And I mean, Aaron McKenzie's 11-2. I feel like he doesn't really have a ton of experience to be in Tough. But then again, I've seen people with less experience on Tough. So what am I saying?
He is ranked 3rd. I apologize.
Okay. I was like, dude, that doesn't make any sense because they seeded everybody.
Yeah. I saw that. Yeah, it's on me.
No worries.
So he's ranked 3rd.
So it should be 3rd versus 2nd then.
Mm-hmm. Former LFA lightweight champion.
Okay. All right. Miss Mary 616 here in the chat. Can we give Connor some credit for the side of him we're seeing this season? Absolutely. I think we should give Connor some credit.
Great acknowledgement.
I mean, that's a great acknowledgement. 100%. I'll let Nano, why don't you go ahead and lead this one out, brother?
I appreciate it, man. Yeah, I think one of the things that stood out and one of the funnest parts of the episode was definitely Connor going over to the what looked like maybe some Baileys.
Sorry about that. We lost you for just a second.
Oh, hello.
We're back now. So
there we go.
Connor.
Sorry about that. Connor. Man, love seeing. I think one of my favorite parts of the episode was seeing him getting cut up by Mondo and hanging out with all the boys in the house, drinking some Baileys or something that looked like definitely some proper whiskey, some Irish whiskey in there. But yeah, seeing that human side of him, just leveling with the guys, letting them pick his brain, BSing a little bit, telling them, "Hey, we're here, man. Smile." Even that little bit, I thought, man, you know what? I mean, that's just something that you think. He's this, I mean, it's what, billionaire, or he's this bigger than life guy. He wears the suits, but it's cool just seeing him. I don't even think he had a suit on at that point. Just being with one of the guys, it was phenomenal, man. I was really excited to see that side of him. What did you think?
Honestly, as the president and founder of the Conor McGregor Hater Club, honestly, I really like seeing this side of him. I was telling Mary actually after the episode, I think that it's really refreshing to see how much he's grown, because in the last season that he was on The Ultimate Fighter, there were these situations where when a fighter would lose, he would blow up and he would just lose his mind. And you could tell that there was animosity towards that fighter after the episode from that point on. And it's really, really refreshing to see that that's changed. There's not that animosity towards that fighter. There's instead, again, a really, really refreshing look at kind of seeing him care and seeing him be willing to be vulnerable. I'm echoing. Why am I echoing? Let me see here. Am I still echoing? Let me know if I'm still echoing, and if I am, then maybe Nano, try muting yourself when I'm talking. I don't know. Oh, cool. Yeah, so sorry for the technical difficulties. Not sure why that's happening. But again, really refreshing to see this side of Connor. I think that it's, again, a really nice look into him as a person versus him as the kind of persona and character that he's built, because he's almost worked himself into a corner, almost like these WWE guys do, where like Undertaker mentioned it, I believe, on Hot Ones, where he was saying like the worst thing about being the Undertaker is going on like Jared Leto or not Jared Leto, Dave Letterman, and getting interviewed and only being contractually allowed to respond in grunts. Like, imagine meeting like such a just crazy cool person that's like so big and just like really like star striking, and you can't respond to them the way you'd want to respond to them. But it's still echoing, huh?
Is that me?
Why is it echoing? I'm not sure. Hold on. Let me check my mic. Okay, testing. Is it still echoing now? Because I just realized that there was for whatever reason, a secondary thing set up here I just removed. So it should not be echoing anymore. Not 100% sure. Nothing?
How am I coming in? Can you hear me okay? There we go. Solid. Appreciate y'all standing by here as we get a little dialed in, you know, little audio issues, but that never hurt nobody. Marlon's figuring that out. Yeah, I mean, to kind of continue with the train here, I think I love seeing it. I mean, everyone spam the chat. Let us know what your thoughts are on Connor, whether it's one word or what your thoughts were on just seeing the kind of human side of him. I think it's great seeing him as a coach. He's really starting to fall into that really well. Some of those tips, I think he gave Mono some really unique little tools to add to his tool box there in terms of some moves on the ground, how to pressure forward, how to be, a southpaw as well. Ooh, I can hear you, brother. How you doing?
There we go. We're back. We're back. Should be no echo now. I think I got it figured out. Not really sure how the hell I duplicated my mic on here, but we're back. So hey, apologies for that. Wait, still echoing. Weird. Okay, so I got one still echoing and one is good now. Perfect audio now. Okay. Chef's kiss. Let's go. Let's go, baby. Thank you for bearing with us. We're back. We're swinging. You can't win every round, ladies and gentlemen, but it is a 5-round fight, and we are back. Thank you. I'm glad you're back, JJ. That KO was disgusting. Nano, can you for the people one more time? Can you do a demonstration of what that KO looked like?
Ooh. And then Mono was like, yeah, it's crazy. And then he was started.
And then he hit him with the Donkey Kong Classic from Super Smash Brothers 64.
I did think it looked rather fast. I was like, is he even hitting him? It's just like, take that. Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
Dude, it was so good. Okay, so I completely agree with you, JJ. I thought that two things. One, I thought Mando didn't look that good against Raul Rojas Jr. So I'm not going to say I'm not surprised he was KO'd. I am surprised he was KO'd. I thought that he would probably be able to weather the storm and go into the second round and lose a decision. But I am surprised he was KO'd. And I'm not surprised he lost the fight. I did think he was going to not win the fight. But my God, Connor in the hat. If ESPN wouldn't DCMA us, I would literally have Conor McGregor in the bottom corner instead of my little avatar guy. Just like,
oh, he looks sweet.
It was so funny, dude. Him in the cowboy hat, giving instructions, dude. And like, come on, you gotta move your head, move your head. It was so good, dude. It was so good. I need Conor McGregor wearing somebody that's fighting for him's hat every episode moving forward.
Honestly, yeah, we should keep that tradition going. I think that's my new favorite kind of unspoken tradition that we're seeing now is everyone comes in with their hats. They give them to Joe or Bisping. I think actually we could talk about those fights here. I think Muhammad got his hat back, but I love all the different hats. Shavkat, right? Everyone's got cool hats, man. I think it's a new wave.
Everyone's got cool hats.
Cowboy hats in there. Yeah, that's a fun one. Why not?
So yeah, I mean everybody's got cool hats. Love the cowboy hat on Connor. I thought that was absolutely hilarious. I thought that honestly, this episode was much better than the first episode for a myriad of reasons. The main reason being we actually got to see coaches coaching. I think that's what was missing for me last episode, being completely honest.
Yeah.
What did you think of the difference in coaching styles? And do you think that one coach, like, actually, two questions. What did you think of the difference in coaching styles? And
I mean, I'm not a southpaw, but I think I would like to kind of pick his brain on how he approaches that stance, his leg kicks, everything, his craftiness, like being creative in there. I think I would like that idea of like everyone can go in and speak their own language, write their own cursive, and it's, I don't know. I think the energy, they all talked about it. As soon as he walks in a room, him in that kind of environment, I think would just be so cool to see. They showed him doing some little bit grappling or some jiu-jitsu stuff, not too much wrestling, although they talk about him having great coaches all around. Would like to see maybe a little bit more of each of those different disciplines, but seeing what I think Chandler sounded like the better coach. He seemed to be more on top of, I guess, breaking down like the tactical little things you should be doing in these moments and how to, chain wrestle. And that part I thought was really neat. And just the way Chandler talks, I feel like he's probably really smart, probably really dialed in and knows how to coach really well, like a natural leader in a way. For Connor, it's like, hey, he's kind of leading by example a little bit. So again, I think if I'm the young buck, I'm probably loving that Connor camp. But if I'm the older guys, I think that's like perfect fit for maybe just a grizzled vet.
I almost feel like the veterans might get annoyed by Conor McGregor's coaching style, especially from the clip we saw earlier where Conor McGregor pretty much injures somebody's rib with a body kick.
I know, yeah, some of that, it's like, come on. Like,
I can't wait to see that.
Yeah.
I do feel like Conor is, even though I feel like they're close to the same age, Conor is vastly the more immature guy. He's obviously still in that kind of party phase and like red panty night, like, kind of phase of his life.
You say this guy,
dude, he's really funny.
He was doing the Austin Powers or like
yes, like he's super funny, dude.
That was pretty good.
I do feel like he'd be a blast to hang out with. Like I literally said that he's like an Irish TN. And for those of you that watch the podcast, he's like an Irish T-Piz.
Man.
Anybody who's ever hung out with T-Piz, like that guy is. I pray to God that all of the people watching and everybody in the world has a TN, because like he's like Jalen in the fact that like they're really, really great hype men. Like they literally will hype you up and make you feel like you are the most badass dude in the world. And everybody needs friends like that, so like
absolutely
I feel like Connor's that guy where like he walks in, he's just like, you could be hungover and he'll be like, dude, let's do a shot, and you're like, I should probably do a shot.
It's all giggly like, ooh, let's
do it.
Little night over here, let's go.
Like I
love it, dude. Yeah,
life of the party.
It was fun, man.
I
love that.
So now that we've had our fun, we've talked about the Ultimate Fighter. That's the most important thing. But we did want to talk about, a little bit of last week's fights this past Saturday. We're not going to go over all of them. I'd like to really just talk about two. There's one really fun thing to talk about, and there's one not so fun thing to talk about.
You got to cover it all, man. That's what we do.
So the fun thing to talk about is Jim Miller, who's, just maybe like a month or so out from being 40 years old, I believe, getting a 23-second knockout over his short notice opponent, Jesse Butler. What an absolute stud of a human being. You can't really ask for better. He goes out there on a 2-day notice opponent, gets the fastest knockout of his career, and one of the faster knockouts in the sport. So, I mean, what were your thoughts on that left hand? Did you see that coming?
No, man, no. I mean, obviously saw the highlights before I got to see the live fight, but hey, I mean, that's probably all I needed.
The highlights are the live fight. It was 23 seconds.
I was going to say, I really didn't miss much. I was basically everything. That's all I needed to see. Jim Miller, man, what an MMA anomaly. That he might need to be our new poster. I don't want to say child because this guy's old enough to be my father, but that is a legend. Obviously a Hall of Famer. I mean, everything he does is impressive. I love how Dana White even mentioned, like, he's been in the pre-USADA and post-USADA. But dude looks jacked, man. He's given dad bod a whole new definition. I mean, this guy, I hope to have that kind of physique when I'm his age. And again, I don't want to make him sound too old. He's only 39.
It's not a dad bod. It's a fatherly figure.
He's got a physique. He's got a
fatherly figure, bro. I do agree with JJ Smoke here in the fact that Jesse Butler is a featherweight. They did him bogus giving him to Miller. But
even Jim Miller said he's game for it. Like, I mean, taking out short notice, probably didn't have to cut any weight. Maybe that's the thinking. Yeah. But yeah, dude's a gamer. He loses no stock, taking that on a couple days' notice. And hey, I mean, who's gonna turn down find a legend like Jim Miller? Didn't think he's gonna freaking put my lights out. That's unfortunate. Hall of Famer, man. And I gotta think of a term for someone like him, because obviously there's a greatest of all time, or there's legends in their divisions or whatever, but someone for like him and Cerrone, like, I don't call them OGs, or it's like someone that represents the longevity, the ability to go multiple decades, right? Like a Tom Brady or a Jordan playing LeBron James, right? That kind of LeBron gene. I don't know what we need to figure out.
We need to figure out like an acronym for that. Yeah.
Yeah, like because man, that's just so impressive to see, man. To still fight at that level.
I can't think of an acronym, but like the best term that I can think of for them is like an old buff in one of the UFC games. Like carved of wood. Those gentlemen are carved of wood because they don't crack, man. Like they stand the test of time.
Au revoir.
Like they're carved of wood. Jim Miller is one of those guys. Dustin Poirier is one of those guys. Like there's not many of them left in the sport, but like the ones that are there, Joe Lozon is one of those guys. Like
Jose Aldo,
is one of those guys. You have a handful of guys that are carved of wood, man. They're from yesterday's era, but they're beating today's best.
Dude, phenomenal.
And JJ, I agree. Jesse Butler was not like the best guy they could have given him, but I'll be honest, that was his fourth opponent that he's accepted for this fucking fight. Give the guy a break. Let him knock out whoever the fuck if they put a wooden dummy in front of him, let him knock that guy out. I don't care. Like, he accepted 4 fighters before somebody finally made it to the damn octagon. Let the guy bang.
Let him bang, bro. Let him bang. And I don't know why they're even giving Jared Gordon another fight so soon. I mean, Jim Miller,
I mentioned that literally on last week's episode.
Yeah.
I literally mentioned that. I was like, I don't understand how Jared Gordon's getting this fight after being knocked out 1 month ago. He's got to be concussed. And then he gets on. Do you know why the fight got pulled?
I mean, based off shout out Ariel show, but yeah, he freaking goes out there and says
he literally was on the Wednesday media day and was like, "Yeah, I was concussed just like 2.5 weeks ago." What the fuck? And he said, "I healed myself." What, bro? You don't heal yourself after you were concussed. What the hell does that mean?
I was kind of concussed.
I kind of healed myself.
No. He literally said I was in the hyperbolic chamber. I think what he meant to say was I went Super Saiyan. I don't have the hair, but I went Super Saiyan.
The guy, come on. I mean, is he thinking he's like Nappa, real life Nappa? I'd love to see Super Saiyan Nappa.
He didn't mention the sensu bean. I think that's the only thing he liked.
Sensu beans. That's what we need. I was concussed, but then I took a senzu bean.
Take sensu beans. Oh Lord. And all jokes aside, I mean,
but only a picogram. Only a picogram of a senzu bean.
There we go. Oh, you gotta fit John in somehow, don't you? He's that dog. This guy.
I can't help myself. No,
classic. No, man. No, brother. Man, I don't know. That's a tough one. I mean, in the way he got dropped and everything, it's like that probably shouldn't have happened anyways. Maybe that was a blessing in disguise. But yeah, I mean, what do you do with this guy, Jim Miller, though, man? Who do you give him next? You feed him to another young buck? What do you do with them?
JJ Smoke, what do you think, matchmaker? Who do we give him to? Because I mean, like, everybody, like,
he says he wants to be active. I mean, hey, he's ready to go, clearly. Who's a fun let's see.
Oh, man. Honestly, like, there's
so many people in that
division. So many people you could give him to.
Luna has some thoughts as well, but let's see.
Honestly, just because I mentioned it and the name is fresh on my mind, and JJ Smoke, like, call me crazy if I'm bad shit here, but I don't think Jim Miller versus Joe Lozon is a terrible idea.
Oh, that'd be fun. What was his last fight?
Joe Lozon? Joe Lozon hasn't fought in some time, but he wants to fight, and they have that UFC Boston card coming, and obviously Jim Miller took no damage. And Jim Miller lost to Joe Lozon back in 2016 via split decision. So he's got to want that one back.
Oh, absolutely. And you give him the pick of the litter. You say, all right, Jim, what are you thinking? You've done enough for our company. What do you
and Lozon's going to want to fight on the Boston card.
Oh, yeah.
Lozon wants on the Boston card. That's like, it's an easy commute for him. And Lozon wants to fight a legend. He said that already.
There we go. Say less.
Maybe Matt Brown versus Jim Miller. Ooh. Matt Brown's a weight class higher, bro. You're trying to fucking Jesse Butler, Jim Miller here, JJ. What are you doing? Come on, man. Come on, JJ. Don't do that to the legend.
Take it easy, man. Matt Brown's a dog too. He's still knocking people out. I mean, in the same caliber.
Yeah, and Matt's a he's a big 170 pounds.
He's a big boy.
I don't want to see a big 170 pounder fight like a decent 155er.
I think I got it.
Okay, let's hear it. Nano's cooking.
Clay Guida.
Oh,
Freaking 2010s, bro. Let's see that. For us.
Oh man,
that are OGs in the game.
That's another really good fight.
Lord have mercy.
That's another really good fight. Oh man.
Oh, dude, come on. You know Clay would want that too.
Honestly, I'm not mad at either one of those. But now that you've said that out loud, I'm gonna throw a fucking wrench in the whole thing here. Maybe Clay Guida versus Joe Lozon in Boston.
That'd be a good one. That'd be some Boston boys.
I kind of just want to see Joe Lozon in Boston.
I mean,
like, can we get and again, Joe Lozon? Joe Lozon lost to Jim Miller. He lost a split decision, so Joe would want to get that back. And Joe has a loss to Clay Guida more recently via TKO, and that one was a quick one. So I gotta think that he'd want that one back even more. Oh, those are both really good fights.
Oh, dude.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun ones.
Oh man, give me Joe Lozon versus either one of those guys, and then the winner fights whichever one it's not.
Yeah, throw him in a hat.
And the loser retires.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Love that.
Yeah, there we go. I think that's the move.
And now we have to address the elephant in the room. Okay, we have to talk about the less fun thing. We said we're going to talk about one fun fight and one not as fun fight. Though this last fight did actually win me some money because I bet on Amir Albazi.
Let's go.
So we had Amir Albazi coming in against Kai Kara France. Beautiful fight. It was 5 rounds. It was a bit of a back and forth war. Maybe not a war for the casuals, but for us, seasoned veteran fans, I would say that it was a pretty good fight. So going through the rounds, round 1, Kai Kara France, 20 out of 47 strikes landed. Amir Albazi, 12 out of 31. 32% to 26%, Kai Kara France. Now, control time. We had 1 minute and 1 second of control time for Amir Albazi and 0 minutes and 0 seconds of control time for Kai Kara France. How do you score that round?
And I think one thing we need to mention here as well, and listening to like the post-fight show today, Coach Dean Thomas mentioned it in terms of how they look at the criteria. And I think we really need to factor that in because if you're asking me, my opinion is irrelevant. We got to look at the scoring, right? I guess if I'm scoring this fight, put my judge hat on. I do the player. I'm a judge now. I felt that Amir's punches, although they weren't as much, the volume goes to Kai Kara France, but the significance, the body language, Amir kind of moving Kai Kara France back a little bit, you can almost make a case that Amir might have won that round. I don't know how the judges scored it. I think there might have been some disputes there. One of the judges did give it to Amir, I believe, right? And that's where the split started. But I kind of see if that's the logic is, hey, even though Kai's was a little more busy, the control time, and then the shots maybe were 2x because they looked in terms of the body language of the fighter. I don't know. I had to, I'm trying to choose my words wisely because it is very technical here. And
it is
the 9-10 scoring. It's like there's a lot of controversy around it. Naked eye, it seemed Kai Kara France was busier, but hey, maybe the control time and the significant strikes was split.
So I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
On first watch, second watch, and third watch, I scored it the same exact way that JJ Smoke scored it. 1, 2, 3 for Amir Albazi, 4 and 5 for Kai Kara France. And though I will say that I scored it 3-2 for Albazi all 3 times I've watched the fight. One time that I watched it, I could see you get like switching a couple of the rounds, but I still have it 3-2 Albazi. Because people online are going crazy, losing their shit, saying there's no argument for Albazi to ever have round 4. I watched that fight on mute. I watched the whole fight on mute for one of my watch throughs, and watch the fight on mute. I advise you. It's very different. Not hearing the strikes, just seeing them, seeing the body language, seeing what they do. You can actually see the damage and the impact a lot better that way because you're not hearing Michael Bisping telling you a narrative. And I have a brief background in farm tech, And one of the things that they taught us very early on is if a pharmacist writes a prescription and you can't read it, the last thing you want to do when asking one of your coworkers to try and read it is tell them, hey, does this look like omeprazole to you? Because then as soon as they hear that, they see omeprazole. It doesn't matter what their brain was going to preemptively see. Now they see what you've now told them to preemptively see. You've planted that seed. So if you hear Bisping saying, oh, well, now you can see that Albazi here is the more dominant pressuring fighter, like, then you're listening to him and you have that narrative in your mind at that point, and that may not necessarily be the case. So I advise people to watch the fight at least one time the regular way with audio, and then watch it completely on mute, because you might see a completely different fight here. Bisping is so bad he needs to get cut off the commentary team. JJ always coming in with the smoke.
I wouldn't mind an upgrade there. I love Bisping. I mean, I like hearing some of his analysis on YouTube, but the commentating, it takes a different type of speed and knowledge and charisma a little bit there. I wouldn't mind a shake-up. We've seen a lot of Bisping recently.
The only time that I really like having Bisping on the commentary is when DC is one of the co-commentators with him, because they kind of big brother each other, and it makes for a really fun dynamic. But it's more so for entertainment value than commentary value, if I'm being completely honest. I think that it's probably going to be more entertaining for casuals too. And that's probably why they do that. Like, if you want to ask me who the like one of the best commentators is as far as like dynamics, it's probably going to be John Anik. Pound for pound, he's the best.
Wow.
Like I don't even like Joe Rogan anymore on the mic, if I'm being real with you. Like, I feel like he has very biased opinions, and I don't know, he's just not present enough. He doesn't feel like he's all there when he's there. So,
well, when you hear him and Goldberg back in the day, I mean, he was a little bit quicker. Like,
he was in, dude.
Yeah, he was. Oh, you really got, like, he felt like he was almost in the fight. Yeah, definitely.
No, you don't understand. Anderson Silva is one of the most accurate strikers of all time, Mike. Like, he was so pumped. Like, he was so juiced that, like, to be speaking about it, he was like getting winded, and like it just doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah.
I agree with that, actually, JJ. I really like Felder. Anik can only be corny when he's doing ad reads, in my opinion. Like,
he's got his cheesiness to him, but I like Anik a lot.
I will say his ad reads have the best timing in the world. Like, what was it, 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, when someone ate a nut shot, and then right after that he plugged Manscaped.
Chef's kiss.
Like, come on, that is timing.
Brought to you by Modelo.
It's like, oh, he is out cold. And if you want to be out cold, these fights are brought to you by Modelo, brewed for those with the fighting spirit.
Oh, man. I love Anik. Yeah, I mean, Felder's solid. Dom, I mean, I'm so about him and Bisping, to be honest. I wouldn't mind a switch up.
Dom said that Conor was trying to tire out Khabib by being underneath him. He's trying to let himself tire him out here. And then he also, I think wasn't he the one that was like, yeah, I think Conor's talking to him here. And then Joe Rogan cut him off, and he's like, nope, that's Khabib talking. And I don't think he's saying very nice things.
I don't think he's saying nice things. Oh, man.
Still one of the best fights in the world. So I won't drag people to the mud here and go through every round, but I will say most notable things here are the fact that, again, first 2 rounds, 0 minutes, 0 seconds of control time for Kai Kara-France, and a combination in the first 2 rounds of 1 minute, 18 seconds of control time for Amir Albazi. In the second round, they matched each other on percentage of significant strikes landed, 29% to 29%. It was 11 to 16 significant strikes landed, and 12 to 17 total strikes landed, both in favor of Kai Kara-France. But again, I still thought Amir Albazi won that round, in my honest opinion. So the numbers tell a different story, obviously. Round 3, again, Albazi on paper landed half the number of strikes as Kai Kara-France, but he had 3 minutes and 36 seconds, almost 4 minutes out of a 5-minute round on top control time. It's really hard to argue that anybody won that round other than the guy that had 3/4 of the round in control.
I mean,
like, come on, that's a pretty damn dominant round. In the next round, 23 seconds to 11 seconds of control time. Not going to even try and say Amir Albazi won this round, though, because it was 5 to 27 total strikes landed in favor of Kai Kara-France. And or sorry, 5 to 27 significant strikes landed in favor of Kai Kara France, 7 to 29 total strikes. And then in the very next round, again, we had 53 seconds of control time, almost a minute of control time for Amir Albazi, 0 minutes and 0 seconds for Kai Kara France. More accurate, significant strike percentage for Amir Albazi, but again, lower output overall. So it goes back to the age-old question, do we care if somebody peppers you up with 52 jabs if the other guy hits you with like 20 crosses that fuck you up? And if we're going off of the actual judging criteria right now, it's going off of total damage done per round, which is very subjective because what the fuck is damage, right? Like if
how do you weigh the amount of damage per strike or total, or
if I punch you and you have a really good poker face, I didn't do any damage, but maybe I broke your fucking orbital and you're a really good actor. And maybe you punch me and I'm not a really good actor, which is true. I'm a shit actor, right? Like if I'm mad, you can tell I'm mad right away. So if you punch me in the face, I'm like, fuck, that's good.
Yeah, you change your facial expression. They're like, oh, that looked like it pissed them off.
Yeah, and maybe it just pissed me off, but it didn't hurt me. Like I'm fucking angry. I'm coming towards you now, and they're like, oh, significant strike, 1 point to Nano over here. Like, fuck out of here.
No, it's one of those things, man. I hate to say it, but yeah, maybe the sport of UFC needs a little acting. You know, like LeBron and those basketball players love to do. Those
Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
No, but you mentioned a good point, man. It's like if you take a punch, right, you bite down and move forward. Do the judges look at that as a significant?
They did really rebook Roundtree versus Daukaus. Sorry to cut in. Ooh, yeah, I can't believe that happened.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I don't love that fight for Chris Daukaus' first fight in light heavyweight.
Roundtree, yeah, geez, that's an OG. But
I don't think that's a great fight for Daukaus.
No, not that old. Roundtree's a stud.
But I mean, Daukaus was a big heavyweight, so if he's able to come down and be a strong light heavyweight, it could be a really, really solid fight, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah, that'll be fun. That's probably why they rebooked it. How they know there'll be some fireworks on that one.
I know there'll be a banger, but sorry, I didn't mean to cut in.
No worries, man. But again, it's like if you take a punch, you bite down, you move forward. How do the judges weigh that amount of damage, right?
That's the thing. It's hard to say, right? Like
if you take that punch, maybe you do stumble forward a little bit, or even like you kind of seen maybe like in that Mando fight, you know, you simply just start to backpedal, or you're not controlling the center of the octagon anymore. You're getting more defensive. Maybe you're more reactive. You know, these what seems like a little shot, even a jab. If I'm snapping your neck back,
that's damage.
I mean, that's a.
But a lot of people don't even see jabs as damage. So like,
yeah,
I will say like there was a lot of like looking at the numbers. I don't feel like the numbers tell the story of the fight at all. I feel like Kai Kara France missed a lot of his shots, and I do feel like Amir Albazi was not only pressuring more in the fight, but he was fighting smarter throughout the fight. And that's why he ultimately got the win. I think he deserved the win. And I'm not mad at it. I think the people that are crying robbery are the same like couple hundred people on Twitter that cry robbery every fucking weekend over at least one fight. And it's kind of getting old, right? Like there's just no reason for every weekend this to be the same topic of discussion. If it's a close fight. If it's a close fight, it's not a robbery. Like,
yeah.
And I don't get the tune of his name, Kai Don't Blink Kara France. Kai Kara France already had his shot, and he lost. And I don't think that he's going to beat Brandon Moreno in a rematch. And I don't think he even beats Alexandre Pantoja. And that's not me being a dick. That's just me being like legit.
Merely facts. No, man, you mentioned some good points. I feel like definitely a lot. Kai Kara France is a stud, but he's not at that level. I think. I mean, I love Kai Kara France, and he's gonna be coached up. He's gonna have a good game plan. He's game, and he showed a lot of heart. But there's levels, right? There's tiers, and if Moreno, Pantoja are kind of at that godly tier or elite tier, I feel like he's maybe tier 1. Like he is cream of the crop. I don't like calling people gatekeeper. I mean that in all the respect. That's like maybe the final level of the boss. That's like the last henchman. Maybe you could call him. Maybe that's he's the mountain or something. I don't know. Maybe you can try to find a better analogy for him. But yeah, I think he sticks around in that range. There's a lot of fun fights there. I mean, there's some guys that need opponents. I'm trying to quickly look through the rankings, but who's coming off? I mean,
honestly, we'll let the matchmakers do their job on that one. We don't even need to jump in. One thing I want to mention before we move on to just kind of prefacing the next episode we're going to do on Thursday. Honorable mention, fucking Bruce Leroy versus Daniel Pineda. Good Lord. Those two gentlemen went out and just put on a show. Man. Absolute freaking beast.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that man is an absolute beast. I don't understand how you could want to realistically go any other way.
No, not at all, man.
What is happening here? Let me see something real quick.
Do we lose signal?
JJ said all he's seeing is green.
Oh, yeah. Uh-oh.
What is happening with the streaming software today?
Hey, man, they don't want us to finish the stream. We got to persevere here through some obstacles. We got to, I don't know, what's a common injury? We might have a torn tendon. We might have a freaking broken toe or something. I don't know.
Something's happening to the streams. Well, we might have,
but
let's see. Can they hear us? Can you hear us still? Okay, so they can still hear us, but for whatever reason, they cannot see us. Let me try one thing.
I'm not seeing any updates just yet. Interessante.
Okay. Very interesting. Okay, so they can hear us. They just can't see us. Not really sure what's going on with the stream here. Not sure why you can't see us, but I will figure that out after the stream. Was going to jump into what's going to happen in the next episode, but I guess we'll save that for the next episode. That's why it's going to be the next episode. Either way, it's going to be about the next big UFC pay-per-view that is happening this Saturday. Thank you guys for joining us as usual. We'll see you on Thursday where we will be talking about UFC 289, Nunez versus Aldana. And hopefully you get to see a little bit more than a green screen.
That's what a way to exit, man. Bring in the curtains. Talk about a curtain call. Appreciate it, brother, for persevering here. Appreciate JJ, Mary, Shy Guy, everybody that was in there with us, man. It's another fun one. We'll see y'all Thursday, man. We'll get back after it.
Let's go, baby. Thanks again for tuning in. We'll see you guys on Thursday.